Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Guru Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I'm from India. I grew up there. The city of Mumbai. Mumbai is very cosmopolitan. Has always been. It is also the financial capital. Everyone here knows India. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Geopolitically, we are becoming a little more prominent nowadays. India has been known since time immemorial as a place of seekers too. Since ever. Growing up in India, I remember anyone ever feeling that spirituality wasn't a part of them. Well, there are various levels of spirituality. However, it was only when I came to the West did I understand that there is a different way of looking at life. And I could appreciate how important it is to understand different perspectives. We grew up with a lot of stories. All of those stories were about, most of them were about holy people. The first time I got introduced to somebody who would have fit into the world of Marvel comics was when I was a teenager. So we had our own superhuman characters. We grew up with the idea of everyone being a spirit soul. We did not know much about what the soul is. So the idea was that everyone is a spirit soul. Going to school, you have a person. It was like a school from sport vehicle. We used to call it the auto rickshaw. It's like a three-wheeler. Everyone knows what's a pinball. dead. And the person who would drive us to school, all of us would address that person as uncle. All of us. So uncle would always tell us stories too. Then we had the local vendors, some of them would come up to our houses selling their wares, some of them would be in the marketplaces. The ladies would always be called auntie, and the men would always be called uncle. They also had stories to tell us. And the interesting thing was that all of the stories would be about how you should be good, how you should be truthful. And if one is nice, then one would receive blessings. And these blessings would help us achieve liberation. We were like, okay, liberation is a part of life. Blessings is a part of life. So that is where we heard all the stories. And I'm going to narrate one of the stories to all of you. So everybody is ready for a story. Yes. So this story is from a book called as the Priya Upanishad. Does that sound very mystical? Yeah. I deliberately took a pause after Upanishad because I wanted to make it sound mystical. Upanishad. Growing up, I used to think they are books. So I'd go to the library and ask, can I have Upanishad? They would show me the shelves. But only when I went through the books did I realize that Upanishads are not books. The books are just a printed form of the Upanishads. Upanishads are they're a body of knowledge. And it was very interesting. Because growing up, I would always think that everything is a book. English is a book. Math is a book. Science is a book. Teachers explain to us how they are not just books. Books are just a printed form. That field of knowledge. The Upanishads are basically a form of knowledge. They were passed down from one teacher to the students, and then the students will become teachers and who will pass it on to their students. Till we discovered paper and discovered the printing press and books. It was good that we had the books because now we could see if they were on the standard version of it. Because I asked someone, why do you call this body of knowledge of these books Upanishad? They explained to me. They said, the word Upanishad is a combination of three words. Upa, Ni, and Shad. I said, wow, that is interesting. But what was the need of combining all of these three words? He said, because then the meaning comes forth. I said, what meaning? So first of all, I used to think the Upanishad is a book, and I realized, oh, it is a body of knowledge. Now there is a meaning to this word too. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning? It comes forth at the combination of these words. He said, open means under or near. Need means close. Shata means to embody. All right. Why this body of knowledge is called as an Upanishad? Because the knowledge is received by hearing, understanding, assimilating. Then it is an Upanishad. By this time, I've lost track of what was being explained. It was like, well, oh man. As in, can you tell me a story? So they said, yes, we will tell you the story. From an Upanishad was Priya, I am Upanishad. I was intelligent enough not to ask him anything else about these words. Otherwise, they would go into some other explanation. Not for this class. I wanted the story. So it is explained in that story that a person known as Prajapati, and I was hearing that word, it sounded fascinating and was hearing it for the first time. So I asked, who is Mr. Prajapati? They said, well, Prajapati is the progenitor of the entire creation. And I know that is God. He said, okay, that is what you want to call that entity, God. All right. However, God is different. This was too complicated for me. I said, all right, let's get on with the story first. So Prajapati had a lot of progeny. Now, the Upanishads addressed Prajapati as he. That's pronoun used. So we'll also address the Prajapati as he. So he told all of his progeny that you must perform austerity. They were all This is said, all right, we'll do that. Where do we perform austerity? So he gave them certain places to go and perform austerity. And once you've done your austerity, then you come back to me. So they figured out what austerity means. And they went and they did their austerity. The technical word is tapasya. So after their austerity was done, they come back. When they come back, somehow or the other, there are three clans, there are three groups. They have made friendship amongst each other. And most probably they were inspired by the phrase birds of feathers flock together. So they flocked together, or they have those for interest. They gave us three groups. One group was called the Deva. The second group was called Manushya. The third group was called Asura. Everyone got those names? Deva, Manushya, Asura. So the Devas all came to Prajapati and said, sir, we followed your advice, we followed your instruction. So now please give us your blessing. And we're waiting for some substantial remuneration. And the Prajapati says, duh. That's what? And Prajapati keeps quiet. So they realize this is their remuneration. Duh. And the Prajapati said, do you understand the meaning of this? And they're all in unison. They said, yes, we do. It means, Damya, control your senses and your mind. Prajapati smiled and he said, yes, that is correct. Go ahead and live your lives. So they left. The next group to approach Prajapati was the Manushya, that clan. Manushya. Please, sir, we have done our austerity. Please give us your blessings. And the Prajapati smiled and said, duh. Well, surprised. When Prajapati asked, do you understand the meaning? And they said, yes, we do. What do you understand? All of them together said, Data. 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 Prajapati smiled. Data means to give. He said, correct. So the Manushya clan was very happy. They also went. The third group of people, they are students. They came to Prajapati. They also asked for blessings. Prajapati said, done. And he asked the people there, did you understand? They said, yes, we did. What did you understand? And they said, we understood that we are in compassion. Very good. That's correct. Go ahead and live your lives. So this is the story from the Upanishad. It's like a parable. So the teachers, those who have the wisdom to understand these parables, they have explained that like how all these stories about the upper world, the middle world, the lower world, like they all speak about three worlds because there are three ways that one can live life. One is the middle earth, or the middle planetary system. The other is the upper planetary system, and the third is the lower. And what's the difference? In the upper planetary systems or the upper world, they have a lot of facilities. And they have powers that the other two worlds do not have as much. And the middle Earth, middle planetary system, or middle Earth, sometimes in today's stories they tell you that. It's about the people that is sandwiched between the upper world and the middle, the lower world. They are the ones who have to work hard every day, the two ends meet. They have sufficient to live their lives well. At the same time, if they are not careful enough, then they also have issues. And then there is a lower, which is just juxtaposed to the upward, as powerful. However, they have a lot of resources too. However, they are inclined to exploit people. Typical. Wherever you have the stories about how they are worthy, middle earthy, whatever they say. There's three different divisions. There's always a conflict. Typically, this is how life is. When you have a lot of facilities, a group of people would be, those who have those facilities would be inclined to be pious. There would be a group that would be inclined to always, or they would be inclined to be exploitative, and there would be a third group that would be sandwiched between the two. They do not have sufficient resources either to be very pious or very exploitative. So they are in the middle. So in this parable from the Upanishad, the Devas are from the upper system. The Asuras are from the lower system. And the Manushas are from the middle system. So because the upper planetary systems, those who are from that part, they have a lot of resources. They are pious too. There is a chance that they can be distracted by those resources. They want to enjoy those resources more than it is needed. There is a chance. They wouldn't be exploited. That is not the nature. They wouldn't want to exploit others, they would want to enjoy it. There is the possibility of that because they have so much resources. Hence, for them, it is important that they practice controlling their senses and memory. Hence, Prajapati said, good, you understood it properly. Middle planets, the middle world, they do not have as much resources as the other two. They have to work hard to get their needs met. So there can be a tendency in them to become very, very greedy. If they have something they want to keep it for themselves, so they wouldn't be as exploitative. And since they do not have sufficient resources, they wouldn't have the opportunity to enjoy as much. Whenever they get a chance, they want to just hold, keep it to themselves. So greed would get challenged from them. Hence, the Manushas, they understood the as giving, charity. And the lower planets, the lower world, because their English is exploited, they understood as being compassion. Because they find compassion, and they can overcome their nature. So basically, the mission here is trying to encourage all of us to address our challenges in life. If sometimes we get too much enamored by our facilities and we want to just lay back and enjoy life to the utmost, then maybe we should think about the idea of trying to control our senses. If distraction is greed, then we should start being charitable. And if the challenge is exploitation, the exploitative tendency, then we may want to adopt in good fashion. I think those are good ideas. So somewhere here is the upper world, somewhere is the middle world, and somewhere is the lower earth. Right here, within our personality. And when we seek answers, that is where we approach Prajapati. And typically, what is a Prajapati going to do? The Prajapati is just going to be like a sounding board. And we have to figure out what it means. We have to figure out what the challenge is. Our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila he would always say that one must not be looking for Ashirwad Babas. He was also from India. So in India, there is this term known as Ashirwad Baba. Ashirwad means blessings. Baba means one can give you those blessings. So people throng to places where they can get blessings. And they want it very cheap. They just go to such Ashirwad Babas and they say, please give your blessings. And the Baba says, all right, here's our blessings. And you say, that is, you would say, Prabhupada would say, we should not want to just go to Ashirwad Babas. We should try to seek answers in such a way that the answer resounds within too. And that is a student. A student is one who learns. And learning is trying to imbibe a concept that resounds within. You can only to a certain extent carry a concept that somebody else has convinced you about. But that is that person's conviction, not ours. We may have been captured by the personality, or we may have been very much attracted by the way of presentation. It is still their concept. A student is one who understands a concept, imbibes it, assimilates it, such that it resounds within his or her system. And when it starts resounding within our system, then we are convinced of what we have accepted. That is the vision that we have whenever we interact with the external world. Because that is our perspective, our philosophy. Srila Prabhupada always encourages us to be very, very rational and devoted to the same time. Each one of us has intelligence. We have to feed our intelligence. We have to let our intelligence grow strong. We go to a teacher. The teaching may be accepted, and teaching is helpful if our intelligence grows strong enough. What does intelligence do? It helps us make decisions in life. That is how they train us here, follow certain laws, traffic. The traffic signals. The intelligence works. Many times, this is like a joke. Many times people feel that when it turns from green to orange or yellow, that means speed up. However, good intelligence system of that it is slow enough. Why is that good intelligence? Because just as we are thinking speed up, somebody else is also thinking speed up. And if we are thinking slow down, somebody else must also be using intelligence to speed up slowly or slow down. So the first situation is a recipe for disaster. The second situation helps you survive. This is the intelligence. The intelligence gives you the vision to live life. Eating, talking, walking, interacting, teaching, and any other aspect of life is guided by proper intelligence. And intelligence gives you vision to those activities. Your vision, your perspective. First of all, there's need for perspective. Second, we need to have our vision. That is why each one of us has two eyes, our individual eyes. I cannot look at the world through your eyes. If I do that, the situation is not good for you. You are most probably dead. And I have your eyes. It's not good for you. Everyone must develop their own vision, their own sin. That's intelligence. So no punishment. This is where the Upanishads help us through parables, through instructions, help us understand our potential. And a teacher helps us realize that we have that potential. Once upon a time, a businessman who had grown old and had 3 sons wanted to impart certain life lessons to all his sons. Am I being very gender biased here? I'm sorry. Let's make it daughters. I don't want it to be a joke, but these are stories from the past, so what can I do? I'm trying to repeat it as it is. So let's say a business lady, 3 daughters, same situation, wants her children to have good life lessons. She's quite old, she knows her days are numbered. So she calls each one of them and gives them a few grains. Seeds. She gives them seeds. She asks them, for the next 5 years, guard these seeds. And after 5 years, I will ask you about it. The first child takes care of those seeds for a few months and then they're just seeds, come on. The child is like, how does she even know? So the child kind of exchanges those seeds for some enjoyment in life, like having fun. First daughter does that. The second daughter is very much devoted to her mother. She's like, no, these seeds have been given by my mother. Whenever I look at these seeds, I remember her. There's so much sentimental value to the seeds. So she takes those seeds, puts them in a very protective container on a mantelpiece piece in a prayer room, and every day she worships that box with the seeds in. The third daughter, she takes those seeds and she's like, okay, I can't have greens from this. So she works in the garden. She plants those seeds. She has a crop. She uses that for herself, distributes it. Whatever is more, she has more seeds from that crop for the next year. So after 5 years, they come back to the mother. The mother asks them, what did you do? The first daughter said, well, he gave me seeds, so I used it up. I had fun in life. And then I got some seeds, borrowed it from my friend and here they are. After all, there is seeds. The second daughter said, oh, I have it in a box container. The third daughter said, well, these are the seeds from this year's crops. Every year I would have bountiful. The mother smiled. Said, each one to his own, to her own. Again, this is a parable. All of us have been given the seed of life. We have been given our senses. Very important. Can you imagine how potent the eyes are, how potent the ears are, how potent the tongue is? Nostrils, the sense of smell, the sense of taste. Let's say, recently we had an epidemic, and one of the afflictions of if you became infected was, if someone was infected, and one of the effects was that you lose either a sense of taste or a sense of smell. It's possible. Let's say we lose a sense of smell. It's very difficult. We're not happy with the situation. What if we lose a sense of taste? So such potent facilities we have. And if we use our senses just for having fun, is that good use of the senses? After all, they're just senses, come on. I just had some fun. There's a problem. Each one to his or her own. Some of us are like, oh, the senses have been given to me by God. I just control it. I'm not letting go astray. Right? And there could be a few of us, some of us who would like want to use those senses for uplifting our own consciousness. Use them in such ways that we feel inspired, we feel excited in life, wanting to have higher realizations in life, and we also help others join the party. Everyone is using their senses. Some are just using it for their own selfish purposes. Some are wanting to control their senses because they feel by controlling the senses they are being pious people, good people. And there are others that are using their senses for the upliftment of their consciousness. Who do you want to be? I'm not asking you for answers. Certainly, you all get good food and things. But who do you want to be? We all want to be the best from the story. Do we have the commitment to be the best that we think the story is indicating to us? Do we have the courage to walk that path? Because if someone says, who do you want to be? We kind of figure out which is the best option here. And you're like, yeah, I'll go for that. I'm really ready to put out money. I don't money on it. Because where you put the money, that is where our heart is. Are you ready to spend our money and have a lifestyle that is in sync with what we feel is the best option? As humans, we have a decision to make. So what Shrarupa will explain was consciousness and Krishna consciousness. He wanted us to be thinkers and seekers. Why? Because he had the vision that each one of us is potentially thinker and seeker. All we need is to activate and spark that is there within us. You can read about it, you can hear about it, you can have discussions about it. You can meditate on it, you can analyze. You have to. If you feel that is the best option for us. Also reported of Shrarupa, what is Krishna consciousness? He said, be conscious of Krishna always. There was Krishna. God, what does that mean? The person who is qualitatively the same as us. Or we could say, we are qualitatively same as God. God is infinite, we are infinite. Qualitatively the same. Therefore, essentially, we are all godly. Now, God, by definition, has to exhibit the qualities that define God. Shouldn't the godly also, by definition, exhibit the same qualities that godly defines? Wouldn't that be fair? So being conscious of this fact is God conscious. Because all we are trying to do is be fair and right. So we're all of you to explore this fact from wherever your understanding is. And if we trust Srila Prabhupada's vision, then we could try and become the seeker that we are, or the thinker that we are, by being conscious of being godly. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Yes. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for your wonderful and illuminating talk. So of course we're the second to last day of Kartik and 5 days of Krishna Mantra. So maybe this could tell something about the glorification, character, and teachings of Grandfather Krishna. If you could be so kind.
Okay. So according to our history of Greater India, it was called Bharat, the land of the enlightened. According to that history, there was a very powerful clan of pious rulers. They were called as the Kurus. That was the lineage, the Kurus. When we are the story that we are discussing about, or the personality that we are discussing about, is very, very prolific and profound descendant of the Guru clan. His name was Devavrata. He is the son of King Shantanu and the celestial goddess Ganga. Ganga is also called as Vishnupati, one who descends from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, the all-powerful, all-pervading Lord of the universe. So he was an interesting person because of his lineage. However, his name was Devavrata because Vrata means one who is always aware of his convictions. Vrata means fixed. And Deva means fixed in the vows of piety. That was how fixed he was. He had to participate in war because he was a warrior prince. He was actually in line to take the throne of the kingdom. He was the king, the would-be king. However, as Prince Regent, he gave up his position for certain reasons. However, he took a vow that he would always be the servant of the throne and protect the throne. So there was a war. From one point of view, it was a fratricidal war. However, this war had attracted the warriors from all over the planet. The war of Kurukshetra. In fact, it is because of this war that this entire history is also called as Mahabharata. So in this war, he was shot at by his own grandnephew, his grandchild. With so many arrows, and practically his body was riddled, and there wasn't even one finger space between the arrows that had passed through and through his body. And by the weight of those arrows, he fell down. However, his body did not touch the ground because the arrows are still sticking through his body. So he was actually lying down on a bed of arrows. By then, long before that, he was given the name Bhishma. He was always so fixed in following the path of righteousness. And for that, he had taken a vow of lifetime service. Fixed in the path. So Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows. So according to one literature, the Padma Purana, the Supreme Lord came to Bhishma. He's addressed as Bhishma Devi. Basically, it means honorable Bhishma. The suffix Dev is added. Honorable Bhishma. So Bhishma Devi. So Lord Krishna came to where he was lying down on the bed of arrows. Bhishma Devi requested the Lord that, please, I want to have devotion with you. So the Lord said that you please listen to the month of Kartik, so you follow this 5 days of Kartik. Now, the Padma Purana does not really state when. However, this is what we've heard, and there are some conditions that say that this happened in the war. And from the Padma Purana, it seems that it could also be prior to that. It is possible. So, anyways, there are some holes in the story like that. Some miscellaneous. Anyways, he was asked to follow this vow of 5 days. So Panchaka means 5. And since he did this vow, it is called as Bhishma Panchaka. Vow of 5 days. Before Bhishma did this vow, it was called as Vishnu Panchaka. So it had been there since ever, since a long time, as Vishnu Panchaka. Basically, according to this vow, you fast according to your ability. If you are able to fast by eating just once a day, you do that. Or if you are able to fast for 5 days at a stretch, you do that. Or if you are able to fast just on being on liquids, you could do that. Or just on being on fruits once a day, you could do that. Or twice a day, you could do that. The idea is that these 5 days of the month of Kartik is this culmination of not just the month of Kartik, which is a very holy month, it is also the culmination of the Chaturmasya, which is the 4 months of holiness. So the culmination, it's like, when you finish off a project, you do it with a punch. So this is the punch. This is the last lap, the last lap, you put in all of your efforts. Final lap. So these 5 days are the final lap. That is the context. And if one does do it, then by the mercy of Bhishma Dev, Lord Krishna has blessed everyone. Bhishma Dev wanted this blessing. So Lord Krishna has offered this blessing to each one of us that if we do this 5 days of Vrana, then what would get, then we would get devotional service in the world. That's a very good offer. Last yes.
So this question was regarding keep thinking about the consciousness.
Yes.
Also, when you say consciousness, means what is what you feel is like.
Consciousness technically means being aware. Aware. Intelligence is what helps you understand what is good for you, and what is good for you should also be good for the creation. So being conscious and using intelligence while being conscious. Being aware of how to use your intelligence. Not how to use, or using your intelligence, being aware of what the situations are, is conscious. So God consciousness is the situation where we see that how everything is a facility offered to us, because the Supreme Lord is permeating each and every part of this creation. So we are able to see and then make choices. So we'll stop here. It's time for darshan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, and wish you all a very happy and wonderful Prashad at the end of this. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we are on the way from ISKCON Shabbat to Mumbai. So on the especially in the United States, we use main temples, very community centers, and yoga centers. He's the vice president of ISKCON Shabbat in Priya, Mumbai, and he also takes care of a ISKCON center, ISKCON temple in Ahmedabad. So we are very fortunate to have him today here. So on behalf of everyone, I express my gratitude to you. Thank you. Now we're going to have the Arti. So everyone should stand. So all the children from the Sunday school, please come forward.
They won't sing.